Hi, Rohit.
Hi, Dr. Mohan.
So nice to see you.
Pleasure is mine.
Now, I know you got to catch a flight, so let me do the standard work, as we call it. I need to introduce you.
Sure.
So here we go. So you're on Dr. M's podcast, Rohit Dashrathi, and we are celebrating India's 75 years. So nice to have you as a guest, and thank you for saying yes to me.
Well, how
Uh,
can I say no?
on me.
It's yours. I can never say no to you. It's yours. So glad to be an invitee, the first one. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, Try saying no to me, I'll always get you back. Okay. Right. Right. There you are. You are the founder of Rucha Yantra,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you're going to talk about, I don't know how you're going to pronounce this word called robos, robotic. How are you going to pronounce it?
The people whom I work with here in India, they call it robots. When I was back there in US, everybody used to call it bots. Uh, as long as they are not doing our work, or as long as they are doing our work, we are happy. Both ways. So it doesn't matter what we call.
Sold, sold, sold. So you are into, are you going to tell us more about this? Okay, and there you are into Carnegie Mellon University, Master of Science in Mechatronics, Robotics, and Automation Engineer. Sachin, Ronnie Sachin, or one other. Okay, so this is what happens when your mob is on. And you were in Michigan University, you did a Masters in Mechanical Engineering, mechanic specialization, control system and robotics. Okay,
Yep.
well, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, there you are on celebrating India's 75 years independence and on Dr. M's podcast. I'm going to, as you say in US, I'm going to kill my slides and hand it over to you. Take it over, Rohit, and
Thank
let
you.
me hear your story.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohan. Yeah. So once again, thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast, and the occasion is very special. It's our 75th freedom anniversary, so it feels great to be here, and it's always my fun time to talk about my pet venture, that is Yantra. Now
Now, how
today.
did you get into it? When uh, you belong to the main unit called Rucha, right?
Yep.
How did Rucha evolve, and then how did you get into Yantra? Rucha
Sure.
Yantra.
That's an interesting story
Yeah.
because just like my other friends, uh, the typical stuff that guys do doing engineering, I was doing the same. Watching movies, moving around, having fun time, and maybe just going on coffee joints, enjoying with friends. And I guess it was back then in 2010, and that's when you must have seen that movie, uh, Rajnikant's Robot.
Oh.
This had come.
Hmm.
I'm serious, till that time, I had absolutely no knowledge or no special interest as such in robotics.
Hmm.
But when I had seen this movie, it got me really hooked.
Hmm.
Many of my friends also just call me out for not liking Transformers or sci-fi movies like that and liking this one.
Hmm.
And they laugh at me when I tell them that this was my inspiration.
Hmm.
But what a movie! I watched it for 5 times in the theater,
Oh my
and
God.
it was so enjoyable. The basic concept that I liked, I mean, you can debate on those CGIs and whether they were good or not. I loved it. However, the basic concept that I had liked was that whenever this Rajnikant's humanoid came up, It was sticking to it, the core very idea of robotics, that what if machines undertake this planet and replace humans,
mm,
or be better than humans, be superior to humans.
mm,
And you know what? Now, when I see robots like Sophia, which
mm,
got UAE's citizenship,
mm,
and there are many such robots which other companies are producing. This seems to be getting true. I mean, it was 2010 when I watched this movie with this idea, and now it is 2022, 12 years after. Everything that is taking place is happening for it is like turning this dream into reality.
mm.
And then, of course, I love Rajnikant. That's why I like this movie. But yes, this core idea really bought me that what if with robots we can just ease out some difficult tasks which are otherwise very, very cumbersome to carry out by human labor, by using manpower. They could be routine tasks, or they could be some industrious tasks which are done into automotive industry, from which I come. And that's my family background, because my dad started this business in the name of
Mhm.
Rucha Engineers 25 years back. And after that, whenever I used to visit his factory, I used to see that there are suddenly people who are pulling up trolleys, or bins, pallets, and whatnot, which are like 1,000 kgs, and it's inhuman that they are put to this work. There were accidents on floors, there were backaches and stuff like that. And that's what really got me, and that's what really I would say compelled me to get into this field, get interested into this one, to check how we could really automate certain tasks for which the use of human labor is not really value adding. I really believe that as humans we are naturally built to do something more, something additional. And that's why this automation could really help us do the same by saving a lot of time and energy.
Rohit, you know what? Since you mentioned about your family,
Uh-huh.
when we were doing a prep meeting, and then you told me that your father was the first generation who came in into industry per se, and now since we are celebrating our 75th, 75 years of independence, there's a good transition, isn't it? And now the son finds his way into robotics.
Absolutely, absolutely, Dr. M. Because one thing that I am thankful to my father big time is that he always encouraged me to
Mm,
also take a first gen experience, to
mm,
start something on my own, and then join him here in Rucha, because that really got me a flavor of how much hardship he must have done within last 25 years, how difficult and how challenging it is to raise a business from scratch.
mm.
Of course, throughout this journey he has been a guiding force till date, and a big help for me too. And that really helped me to know, I mean, what is the experience of raising a business from zero, transitioning it to something else. And this experience in turn helped me to get into Rucha smoothly, because then there were some different challenges which a second generation entrepreneur would feel. Uh, getting along with people who have been the pillars of your organization, learning from them, knowing from them, taking new initiatives, driving them, and establishing a new leadership.
Yeah,
I
what is
think.
interesting, sorry to interrupt you there, because
No, no,
since
please.
you mentioned about your father, you come from Aurangabad, which
Yeah.
is Marathawada, right? Which is
Yes.
predominantly agriculture once upon a time. And now, of
Absolutely.
course, that's become an industrial base for the western
Absolutely.
region of India. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. We come from Marathwada. My dad hails from a very, very small village, which is called as Logao, which is in Kannad Taluka of Aurangabad. And my grandfather was a teacher in school.
Hmm.
Later on, he became a very good authority in education sector. And I mean, during his journey, his career, he shifted the family to Aurangabad for the betterment of family, for the betterment of my dad. And it really feels amazing to me as well. How, with no background into business, my dad created a sizable venture, which is doing great today. So
Mm.
it has always been an inspirational journey for me. I keep talking to my dad about the same, and every time some or the other new detail comes out, which relates to his journey, and thus it keeps me popping up कि यार अपने पास तो सब कुछ है, which my dad didn't have. So यहाँ से आगे जाने में तो और मज़ा है, और यहाँ से आगे जाने में अपने को क्या रोकेगा? And that acts as a catalyst or an injection to me personally, to try and do something new. My dad always kept telling me कि बेटा अपना कोई product होना चाहिए. I have raised a business, I have been doing a business, doing good into it, but we should have a product of our own. We should also become an OEM. That was his sapna, his vision, and that also really motivated me to get into these automation robotic products. Today it feels great that after starting this venture within a span of within a that way short span of 4 years, we now have created a bunch of products under this brand name Yantra.
What does
And
Yantra mean? Because you are going to be on a global platform, so you should be able to tell them what Yantra means.
absolutely, absolutely. I always love this question. Yantra basically is nothing but machines.
Mm.
Uh, in Tamil, Endiran, which is synonymous to Yantra in Hindi, it also means automated machines or robots. Even this movie, Robot, that had come, the original name of the movie in Tamil is Endiran. And being the inspiration, I named this company after this movie.
Lovely.
So that's what it is all about.
Okay.
And we started this company in 2016.
Mm.
Before that, we did 2 years of R&D.
Mm.
And the core idea was to automate the material handling, the manual material handling that was happening inside our dad's company's premises.
Mm.
Because I could see that there are two people always pushing tons of weight.
Mm.
I thought that this could be automated. There could be a simple mechanism in any robotic class. In robotics 101, there is always a project called as line follower, and that's what we tried to come up with. So we basically developed a line follower robot and tried to solve this issue. And after implementation on very first day, we could save 7 man days by one single machine.
Mm.
So it was a charging point, it was an encouraging point. And the team that was working on this particular robot named it as Raghav. So now this Raghav stands for Rucha Auto Guided Heavy Assistance Vehicle.
Yep.
The name came up very nicely. And
And Rucha is the name of your sister, right?
Rucha is name of my sister, and the irony is that she is the doctor. She's a doctor. She's not into technical field. And another funny story. My dad had started 2 3 companies during his starting years. The first company was actually Rohit. It was in my name. One of the company was Rohit Exhaust Systems Private Limited. And one day I guess some mishap happened, and वहाँ पे आग लग गई. So ultimately जब when I jumped into the business, I said to dad कि dad आपने मुझे लाया तो है, लेकिन मेरे नाम से जो कंपनी चालू थी वहाँ पे आग लग गई, आप रुचा ही कंटिन्यू कीजिए.
Mm.
बट अभी तो आग लगने के बाद रोहित पूरा का पूरा आ गया, आप पता नहीं अपनी कंपनी को क्या होने वाला है. So that's a funny thing that we always keep sharing.
Okay, so for those who didn't understand what Rohit said in Hindi, or what he said is that his father started a company called Rohit, that is in his name, and that something happened, set fire, and then he told his father that, look, now Rohit has come in person. That's what he said, like a sense of humor. But what I like about what you're trying to tell me is that what attracted you to this is, apart from Rajnikant, was the fact that you saw that there was a lot of uh, a lot of what do you call strain on human beings who are pulling and pushing all the weights, and
Yeah.
that's what triggered you off. But it was in no way that you did this to reduce the manpower, correct?
No, not at all. I mean, I guess it is a myth that using a robot reduces manpower.
No, but that was not a trigger point. Your trigger
That,
point of getting
yeah,
to this was not to reduce the manpower, but to see to it that the manpower, the strain on the
absolutely.
manpower, and since I'm into continuous improvement, we call it the MURI, the strain on human beings, and that is what we call the respect for people. To
Absolutely.
respect them, and that's how you got into this. I mean, that's what I captured from what you said, and I love what you said about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I mean, in all sense, uh, this is true. I mean, I couldn't really see the efforts those guys were taking, and in between, also a small accident happened because one guy who was pulling that trolley couldn't see what is beneath him, and he collided with rack, and then there was some injury, something like that. But yes, I mean, in such kind of work, human safety is jeopardized. Human efforts are enormous, which are not needed at all, which could be reduced. And to make human life simple is the best thing that robotics and automation could do. You're absolutely right in saying that.
Lovely.
True. And if I may just add to this, uh, in every interaction, somebody or the other asks me this question: ki, will the jobs be jeopardized if at all you put a robot at a particular work? And I always have one single answer, which I believe to the core of my heart, that whenever a robot is there in place, it also creates 3 to 4 job opportunities, because
Mm.
then you have to maintain that robot, you need a maintenance guy, you have to take care of the control systems of that robot, you need a PLC guy, you need a mechanical guy, you also need to also charge that robot, you need a labor for that. So there are certain opportunities which are created after also employing automation mechanism, which
You need a teacher too.
for robotics, yeah.
Teacher too.
Absolutely, absolutely. You also need someone who can train you to operate it. There is a teaching skill involved. Need a teacher. Absolutely. Thanks for that addition.
Oh,
So yes, I mean, in that way, it has been a good journey so far.
it's
After
going to
2000,
be for in future too.
absolutely. And one thing that also kept on happening is all our robot names are originated out of Sanskrit language. As you
Mm.
can see on screen, we have 4 robot families. First one is Raghav, then Sevak, then Vaman, Vignaharta. All of these are mythological names, which are the names of Vishnu and Ganesh.
It
So
had to be because in your prep meeting you told me that your mother has done a PhD in Sanskrit, correct?
yes, 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 that's true. And for this, she is also a great contributor,
Mm.
because whenever we used to launch a product, I always used to talk to my mom about naming it, and some of these names are her creations. So thanks to her. And I mean, after 2016 till 2022, it also feels great that something that was started in a 600 square feet room now has taken a shape, and we are doing a business of almost 10 crore Indian rupees. This year we would be doing that. Uh, it also feels like a very nice short story so far, that we started with a 600 square feet room. It was more or less like a small lab in which we used to create small hobby robots. And by we, I mean myself, and there were 2 other guys,
Mm.
uh, one of which is still there with me after all these 8 years and driving this venture. And we used to take all those mithai ka dabba, the sweet boxes, put wheels to it, attach some sensors, and move them around. and then that took shape and these robots were created. So a continuous R&D and new product developments of 8 years could take some good shape. There are also other products in the basket that we have, but this one was our pet project, and it feels good to also see it climbing.
Lovely.
And also in this journey, for 2 consecutive years, we also received awards in the segment of being most promising material handling solution provider. So that was one more to our basket. And as you can see on the screen, these are the different robots that we are making. Each one is differentiated by the application that it serves. The first one is called Sevak, and this is an airport luggage carrier.
Mm,
It basically can be used on airports as well as grocery stores. The core idea is that it follows the human operator.
mm,
So you can safely put your vehicle on the bed here on this vehicle and
mm,
start walking in front of it, and it follows you. And that's why it is named as Sevak, which
mm,
basically means assistant. And then there are various other autonomous mobile robots which are used in different sectors such as manufacturing or assembly lines, pharma, healthcare,
mm.
and more. These could be these are some of the applications which these robots carry out. And this the photos belong to the very first industrial premise
Mm.
regarding which I was talking about, where I see those guys getting hampered and during these material handling.
Yeah.
And these Vaman is, it's one of the avatars of Lord Vishnu,
Mm,
and it is short heighted,
mm,
a dwarf avatar.
mm,
This robot is flatbed kind of robot which goes underneath trolleys
mm,
and lifts the material, picks from one place and places it to another place. And
mm,
that's why, being low in height, we named it Vaman.
mm,
And then it also has fantastic applications in replacing conveyors or also on assembly lines.
mm,
Currently, we are also deploying some of these robots on some automotive OEM assembly lines, wherein the usual trend of having big conveyors would be replaced. Instead of that, there would be these robots moving around, and thus they do not occupy a permanent space. You can just take them
It's
out.
flexible.
It's flexible. It's
Mm,
flexible. You can take them out whenever you want, and this saves a lot of cost for any industry, any factory, because there is no such investment that becomes dead when your project is over after 8 years or 10 years,
mm,
and you can just reuse the same thing. Uh,
mm,
Automation fantastically helps in devising some novel solutions like this, which are flexible, ready to move, and thus save a lot of time and energy in addition to money.
mm,
So these are some good additions to our automation portfolio that we have been able to do.
mm,
One big thing that I always cherish or I am proud about this company is we originate from Marathwada,
mm,
which is not really known for robotics automation as such. And rather, it is not a region which has been historically known for technological developments or technological products. But there is so much in this region. There are various organizations developing something beautiful here on technology front too. And the biggest thing about Aurangabad that we keep telling proudly to the outside world is that this is a city of entrepreneurs. This is a city which has been developed by first generation entrepreneurs, and now even second generation entrepreneurs, including me, my friends, are taking it ahead to different levels. It is famously said that a guy who completes his education in India, guy or girl, the most ideal thing was always the Western dream, to go out of the country, to also do carry out masters or pursue some higher education, get a good job, get a good life, and there is nothing wrong in it. I mean,
There is a go.
absolutely, there is nothing wrong in it. However, Aurangabad historically has been a city wherein people tend to go outside the country, pursue good education, and come back. And I don't know whether it is affinity towards the region or anything else. They like to set up business here, and they like to work for the betterment of this region. And there are many such examples.
Mm,
So being in Marathwada, doing this kind of work, which otherwise for which these products weren't really available in India. There were no Indian makers when we had started.
mm,
Now there are some. Still, you can just count them on the fingertips. I mean, very very few players. But being one of them, being a leading organization, is something that we always cherish and talk highly about. So it has been a great journey regarding that, and various use cases on airports, on factory premises during the start of our journey helped us to devise the case study in detail.
mm,
Some of the pics can also be seen during some exhibition centers. Even Marathwada Auto Cluster, which is a big cluster here in Aurangabad, formed by 50 plus automotive organizations. We have deployed some of these robots. This Vignaharta is a special one. This is a COVID baby, and during COVID period, a leading hospital in Aurangabad, Hedgewar Hospital, Dr. Hedgewar Hospital, they contacted us, and they were checking if we could give them certain solutions which could avoid human touch, uh, due to which I mean infections were getting contracepted. So for them, we devised this product. Vignaharta is another name of Lord Ganesh, and Vigna,
Vigna, yeah, Vigna itself means obstruction, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
Obstacles.
Vigna is obstacle, and Harta is getting rid of that obstacle. So
Mm,
somebody who gets rid of this obstacle, famously Lord Ganesh. We named this product after Lord Ganesha. And I would also like to take you through the video of this. It's very interesting and very very non-common case study that we could do. This robot helped big time during COVID period to the hospital, because after during COVID, every country was facing the same issue,
mm,
wherein patients are just flowing in. People who are taking care of those patients are frontline workers.
mm,
They were also getting sick due to COVID infection. Practically, there was nobody in the hospital which could serve the patients. Everybody was a patient, and during this time, uh, we could create this product thanks to Dr. Hedgewar Hospital for the same, and it helped them big time because not only the human touch, which was prone to infection, was avoided, but also this robot was able to do the work of around 40 people over there.
mm,
So their staff, which was otherwise providing these medicines or blood samples, any other samples to patients, taking them out to labs and other things, they could put that for other important aspects of healthcare at that time. As you can see, this robot also has segregated drawers for different departments, for different rooms, and it's quite easy to operate it. It's like a toy. Once you give the command to it, it can follow a colored path. It can keep moving.
mm,
Using AI algorithm, it can also decide where to go. Now this is also going into the general ward, serving the medicines to the patients. And then there are some standard elements like obstacle avoidance. If at all somebody is coming in front, it gives a beep, and then it gives basically a signal to the obstructor in the path. He or she gets away, the robot starts moving. Now these kind of automation mechanisms are quite standard these days in these robots. However, the application is really good. uh, and this was one of the special projects being into healthcare. there was a sense of feeling that yes, we also contributed somewhere during this crisis.
Mm,
And that's what keeps us going to
great.
see what we have deployed on ground and making the full use of it. It motivates us.
Oh, lovely.
So this is what Yantra is doing. That was Dr. Tupkari. He was instrumental in taking this robot ahead. And from zero to having some good names, it has been a fine journey. And now the next task is also that we are looking forward towards not keeping this mobility only on ground, but also to expand it to aerial route.
Mm,
I always keep feeling that, anyways, with the roads getting jammed up, the travel getting difficult. After this interview, I also have to rush to airport, and I'm just getting dreaded by this thought: when will I reach? This
oh,
wasn't the
you'll
case
reach.
now.
I'll get you my drone so it can take you across to the airport.
Absolutely, precisely that. Probably what world wants now. I mean, having personal aerial mobility is something that fascinates me, and there have been instances already. Now, this is no more a dream. This has been a reality now. In Dubai, Uber guys really flew up an air taxi, and I mean, when I was a kid, I used to watch this Jetsons cartoon.
Mm,
I used to be very, very fascinated by that.
mm,
Uh, Having a penchant for robotics was a different thing, but I mean, you sit into something and you get transported easily to some other place. This
mm.
idea itself was very fascinating, and we are seeing that it is happening these days. This is no more a dream. I mean, being Yantra, we also want to contribute to that. We want to emerge as a leading Indian player into this domain of aerial robotics.
I'm sure you
So
will, with your passion and with your father's encouragement and your mother's blessing. I'm sure. And you are in the right place. You are in India. India's got a
that's
lot of opportunities for youngsters like you. And
that's
I'm wishing you all the best and enjoy yourself and take care of India. Thanks a lot. And I would, I'm really grateful that you could make it uh, so that we can celebrate together.
It's
Yeah.
completely my pleasure, Dr. Mohan, and I'm so glad when you called me. I mean, I had a chat with Dad. He himself was excited to know that we talked, and I mean, with that, I always wanted to come up. Thanks more for inviting me for this wonderful interaction. And I'm sure I mean, it would be that the whole podcast series would be a great one.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be. It is dedicated to all the young entrepreneurs and irrespective of which field that they come from. And thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording and let you go. Take a drone and reach your airport.